In today's video, we have a bike with a Suntour Raidon fork and another bike with a Suntour Epixon. So welcome back to another video on RVA MTB. I've got Barkley Fink in the garage right now. You may recognize him from the giant Talon video. That is actually the most successful video on my channel. Has over 2,000 views now, which you may not have known. It has the most likes of any video, and it also is the only video on my channel to have a thumb down.
Oh, really?
Why do you think that might be?
Probably this mug.
I have some theories on it. I'm going with they were holding their phone upside down when they were watching it, and they meant to hit the thumbs up, but the phone was upside down, so it was a thumbs down.
Clearly.
So Barkley, you purchased your giant Talon 2, and it came with what fork?
Came with the Suntour XCT fork.
Okay, and in my case, I purchased a SE Big Mountain, which came with a Suntour XCT. So these are both lower level Suntour coil spring forks, not the greatest quality, but they are what you will find across the board on entry level mountain bikes.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts of your XCM?
My initial thoughts on the XCM were that the rebound adjustment was, there's no discernible difference really unless you're like at the top end or the bottom end of the adjustment. It was very heavy and kind of cumbersome. It even has had a sticker on it that says not intended for mountain biking.
Yeah, the XCT had that exact same sticker on it, and same with me. You know, you have the adjustment for some rebound or preload or I don't know what, but it didn't really make any difference at all. It was heavy. Anytime you did go off of even a little jump or a little drop off, the spring in the fork would expand and give you this awful clanging noise, which certainly didn't make you feel confident about the whole thing.
And no matter what you did, any sort of large drop, no matter how you had it adjusted, you're probably bottoming that thing out.
Yeah. So this video I think is important because we both upgraded our forks using the Suntour upgrade program. Which essentially, if you're the original owner of the bike and you have the receipt, you can upgrade to one of their air forks and you save $100 in the process. So for the Raidon, for example, that wound up being $199 instead of $299, and for the Epixon, that made it $289 instead of $389.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're like either of us, you might have bought entry-level bike with a cheap SR Suntour fork, and you might be thinking about the upgrade program, considering your options between the Raidon and the Epixon.
The Epixon weighs 3.6 pounds and it has serviceable internals.
And in my case, the Raidon weighs 4.4 pounds, so it's a little bit heavier, but still much lighter than those cheap coil spring forks, and the internals are not serviceable on it.
So in this video, we're going to dive a little deeper into these forks, and we're going to see, did I get my money's worth?
And a quick overview, both of these forks have pretty similar controls on them. You've got a dial here to go from lock to open, so that's just going to adjust the preload in between. And then underneath this cap is where you add air. And coming down on this side is where your rebound dampening is, so that's going to affect how fast it comes back up after a compression. So we'll first take a look at the Suntour Raidon, and I'm going to go over some of the strange quirks about this thing. So the preload to lockout knob on this I've actually modified, and the reason that I did that, well, initially it looked like this one with the longer extended area here. And when you were locked out here, if that was your lockout position, spin around, it would hit the crown here and would not allow you to actually spin it any farther. And there were, it was probably like 20 degrees more of spinning available than this cap would allow. So I hacked that off. So now I'm fully locked out here, spin around, and previously it would stop here where it would hit, and now I can continue spinning to when it's actually fully open. And honestly, I don't know if that was done on purpose. Maybe they don't want you spinning these extra couple degrees. I don't know, but I've left it that way. It's been that way for a while. No issues with that. And upon purchase, this fork comes with 100 millimeters of travel, and it's actually adjustable You can have 100, 120, which is what I've changed this to. That's what this frame was built around, that geometry. You can also increase it to 130 and 140 if you wanted. And I believe that is the same with the Epixon as well. And the rebound adjustment is also a little bit quirky on the Raidon, and I'm going to try to demonstrate what happens when you actually try to set the rebound dampening to its highest position, so where it kicks back the least. So currently it has basically no rebound dampening, and if you spin this dial, first you'll notice there's no clicks in it, so it's not actually like clicking and locking itself into place. But as you go along, you will generally get to a point where it just keeps on spinning and spinning and spinning. And the reason that is this little cap essentially just covers up just a cut off Allen key. And as you're turning this knob, you're progressively pushing this farther and farther in to the point that it slips off. And then once you've gotten to that point, if you try to spin backwards, well, it's not making contact with anything anymore. So, I don't know, maybe it's a fluke. This should be 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters longer, and then this wouldn't happen at all. So this is the SR Suntour Epixon model, and the cap on the preload adjustment is still off. Just so you can see the mechanism, it looks the same on the Raidon, and that's what I was explaining. You can get some more revolutions out of it, or not revolutions, but a few more degrees of turning than the cap allows. Interestingly, on this Epixon, this dial, and I started it in the locked out position, you can actually keep spinning it and spinning it and spinning it, you know, beyond 360 degrees to the point where I don't want to spin it anymore and mess something up. So maybe there is some reason to, you know, this cap hitting the crown and limiting the amount of motion. So the rebound adjustment knob looks the same on the Epixon, and currently it is turned all the way to the left, meaning that the rebound dampening is at its lowest position. And we haven't even tried this yet, but we'll just see what happens when we turn this to the right, if it actually stops itself. And it has, well, nope, still turning. It got a little tight, but now it's still turning. Alright, so that has come to a full stop there, which means that either the Epixon in general doesn't suffer from that same issue, or it could just be a quirk with that particular Raidon. But we can go back left, and I'm assuming we're actually turning the internals. We stop there, so that's good. Another thing worth comparing on these two forks is the rebound dampening. So we've got them both set at 50 psi, and the rebound dampening is at the maximum position, which means that it should kick back the slowest after being compressed. So we are going to try to demonstrate that right now with some slow-mo video. So that slow-mo video may or may not be conclusive. We'll see when I'm editing it together. But we have tried each other's bikes just to see what the feel is. And they're pretty similar. I would say that it seems like actually the cheaper Raidon feels like it has a little bit more control on that rebound. It comes up a little bit slower. And that's also to say that that's not always the greatest thing, because you don't want it compressing and compressing and compressing and never coming back up, but it feels like there's a little bit more range on this. What do you think?
I felt definitely when we tested it at the higher PSI that what you said was definitely the case. When we took the PSI out for the slow-mo video and ran them at 50, I didn't see the difference. I didn't feel the difference.
And the on-trail feel, you know, they feel pretty similar. We've ridden each other's bikes on trail. One thing that I will say is that you can definitely notice the weight difference. I've had this Raidon before Barkley got his Epixon, and when I got on that thing, it was just, you noticed it immediately how much lighter it was.
It's definitely lighter. So for the extra $90 on the Epixon versus the Raidon, what you end up getting is you get that lighter fork, and you get the serviceable internals. But honestly, the way they perform on the trail is very similar.
So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. So if you're considering the upgrade program, you know, get whichever one seems to fit your budget the best.
Yeah.
So hopefully you found this video informative, and we'll see you out there on the trails when the rain finally stops.
Will it ever stop?
Doesn't seem like it. Alright, see you next time. And don't forget, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you have some thoughts of your own, leave a comment below. And of course, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one.